So hello guys, in today's tutorial we'll be discussing on how you can configure Inter-VLAN network using a switch, a router and two PC. So let's have a little overview of what is a VLAN. So a VLAN, as you know, is a virtual local area network. This is a method to create a logical separated network using a single physical network infrastructure. So why do we need VLAN within our network or within our topology? VLAN enables segmentation at the data link layer, usually at the layer 2 switch. So this is where switch now segment or divided the network based on the VLAN. If you can see here, you have VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. These are two different VLAN network within the same subnet and within the same switch. So this segmentation is simply done within the switch. So reason why we are using VLAN, the major reason is for security purpose. Maybe if you have a department of IT and other department of finance using the same subnet, you can configure VLAN network, at least to ensure that someone in department of IT cannot see any traffic from department of finance. So this is done by using the VLAN. This is done by enabling the VLAN network. So without further ado, let's proceed and try to configure our VLAN network protocol within our system. So if you can see here, we have a network topology. So within our network topology, we have two PCs. So we have two PCs, we have a switch. This is a layer 2 switch, and also we have this is a layer 2 switch, and we are using a router because this VLAN 10 and VLAN 20, we know that on our earlier video we see that VLAN 10 and VLAN 20 cannot communicate, that are within the same, they are not within the same network. So to enable communication of VLAN 10 the PCs or computer within this VLAN 10 and other computer within VLAN 20 to communicate, this is done by using a router. So you are using a router to pass this traffic from this VLAN network to the VLAN 20 network. Secondly, as you can see here, you are using two interfaces. This interface 1 here, which is named Giga Ethernet 00, belong to the VLAN 10, and the other one belong to VLAN 20. So VLAN 10 uses this interface to pass traffic, and the other one also uses this to pass traffic. So first thing, we'll configure our PC. I have already configured some of the PC like this one. If you check very clearly, I have already configured. This is the IP for PC8 here with a subnet mask of 255.255, and also you have a gateway of 192.168.2.1. So let's configure this one. Let's configure this one together. So as you can see here, PC3, it has an IP address of 192. So we'll get 192.168.1.2 network. Also subnet mask of 255.255.255, and it has a gateway of 192.168.1.1. So that's okay, and we are good to go. So once done with that, we'll go ahead and now configure our router. We want to assign these interfaces, the interface Giga Ethernet 00 and 001 within our router routine table. So if you check out the videos on how to configure routine using a router, so we check on how you can configure static routine, You can do OSPF, open source shortest path. Those are, short fast. All of them we have just configured. I have a lot of video related to how we can configure this topology within our eNSP. So let's go ahead and configure or insert these interfaces so that our router will be aware of these two interfaces. So open our router, and here we'll type this command system, then we'll go to system name. Let's name our router and we'll give it a router 1. Let's give it router 1. Now we have named our router. So the next thing, let's specify the interface that we want to assign this IP address. So we'll configure Giga Ethernet 00. So interface Giga Ethernet 0/0/0. Then within this interface, we want to assign the IP address, which is 192.168.1.1 with a subnet mask of 24. Subnet mask of 24 is the same as 255.255.255.0. You can use that one or you can use this one. So you hit enter. You have an error. Sorry, we forgot to add the IP, so it should be IP address. Then our IP. So 192.168.1.1, then subnet mask of 24. Now we are good to go. Now let's configure this also, this Giga Ethernet 001. So just go ahead and then you quit. Then you go to interface 001. Then within here we want to configure IP address, but this time is 2.1 with a subnet mask of 24 also. So like that, and click enter. So we are done in configuring our router. Now let's go ahead and configure our switch. This is where we configure our VLAN within the switch. So let's open our switch as usual, system. Then you go to system name. We'll name our switch. So let's give it a switch, the switch 1. Then we are within our switch. So the next thing we'll do, we'll go, as you can see here, we configure this switch. So let me just squeeze it a little bit so that you can see. Here you can see, we want to configure our switch. First of all, we need to specify the VLAN batch, because we have two VLAN network here. We have the VLAN 10 and the VLAN 20. So we start by configure our batch. So let's go back here and configure our VLAN batch. So this will be VLAN. So VLAN batch, VLAN batch, which is 10 and 20. Hit enter. Secondly, we come to this section. I have just tried to divide this section into two so that you will see what we are doing. So let's come within this section, and within this section, let me just put this here, and within this section you can see we have this interface, which is Ethernet 001, and this interface, which is Ethernet 002. So it is within this section B. So we will configure this section B using these steps. So first of all, within the section we now specify the VLAN that we want. So we want to configure this VLAN. So we'll go to this interface, which is Ethernet 001. So let's get back here. Let's go to interface Ethernet 0/0/1. We'll go within this interface here. Then hit enter. The next thing we need to do, we need to decide a port link type. Since we only have one VLAN or one PC that is sending a traffic to this PC, therefore the link type, it will be access. So here we have a link type of access. So let's do that. So let's go and specify the port. So port link type, so it will be access. You hit enter. Also we need to configure we want to specify our default VLAN. So we'll come here and also specify our port default value. So port VLAN, we have specified this PC which belong to VLAN 10, so it will be 10. Then you hit enter. So once you are done with that, come ahead and also configure this PC that belong to VLAN 20 also. So just quit, come to that interface, which is interface Ethernet 2. Then we will try to configure port link type as usual. Also the traffic that will be sent from this PC belong to VLAN 20, therefore the link type will be access. So link type will be access. Then also we want to specify the default VLAN, so which is 20. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll go ahead and specify 20 and hit enter. So also you're good to go. Now let's clear screen. Now simply quit, and within here we now come within our section A. This section A, we want to assign this interface to belong to this VLAN 10 and the right interface to belong to this VLAN 20. We want this switch to know that whenever we are sending traffic from the LAN 10, it will use this interface here to push traffic to VLAN 20. The same when you use or when you ping or send any traffic from PC VLAN 20 to other VLAN, it will use this interface here. So let's go ahead and do that. So within the VLAN 10, so we'll specify the interface. So we'll specify the interface, which is Giga Ethernet. As you can see, it's Giga Ethernet. This interface here is Giga Ethernet 001. So go Giga Ethernet 0/0/1. See here. Then we'll specify the port type. So the port type, the link type, it will be access. So we'll specify the port link type, which is access. Also we need to specify the port VLAN value. For this one, we have, as we have said, that this network here, this VLAN will use this interface here to push traffic, therefore we'll need to assign this VLAN network. So let's do that and specify the port default, port default VLAN, it will be 10, and we are good to go. Now let's do the same for VLAN 20. So simply quit, come to that interface. So we quit, then we come to that interface, which is interface Giga Ethernet 002. Then within here we need to specify the port link type, which will be access, and lastly we need to specify the VLAN network. So specify which belong to VLAN 20, and now our PC should be able to pin. So let's first try to pin our interface. Let's try to pin this gateway here. So let me just quiz. So let's try to pin this interface, this gateway here. We'll come within our PC command. Let's try to ping our gateway, which is 192.168.1.1. As you can see, it's pinging, meaning that this PC within the VLAN 10 is able to ping or send traffic to our gateway, to this router. So the next thing we'll try to ping this interface here within the VLAN 20. We'll try to ping this interface. So let's do that and see if we are able to ping it. So 2.1, and you can see also it's pinging. So final thing and our main agenda is to be able to pin or communicate with a VLAN 20. So VLAN 10 should be able to communicate with VLAN 20. I mean VLAN, yeah, our VLAN 10 should be able to communicate with VLAN 20 by help of a router. So let's try pinging our PC that belong to this VLAN 20 and see if you can able to get replies or feedback. So we'll ping that which is belong to the 2.2 network. So let's see, and you can see it's pinging, meaning we have configured our Inter-VLAN network using a switch and a router. As you can see on earlier videos, if any PC that belong to VLAN 10 could not be able to communicate with any PC that belong to a VLAN 20 by use of a switch only. So this layer 2 switch cannot able to send traffic to a different VLAN, despite that they belong to the same subnet, or despite that they have I mean, this can happen. Only switch can able to communicate, to enable this PC to communicate if they belong to the same VLAN. But if these two PCs they belong to a different VLAN, they cannot able to communicate unless we introduce a router that will enable will help to send this traffic or forward this traffic to a different network. So this is how we can configure inter-VLAN network. This is a simple topology, but as we proceed, we'll come up with complex and very large topologies showing on how you can configure these network and ensure that our system is well secured and we prevent our data from being exposed. So let's find out if this PC2 can also do some pinging. Let's try on both sides to be sure that it's working. So let's ping our interface. So let's ping. So we'll ping this gateway here, which is 192.168.1.1, and let's see, we are getting reply, meaning also this PC can able to communicate with this gateway here. So let's do that for our final destination, which is 1.2, and request timeout, but is a little delay, but it's working. So let's repeat it, and right now it will work so smoothly. So guys, this is how you can configure Inter-VLAN. This is a simple topology, but as I said before, we'll come up with a very large and complex network topology, and we will try to configure the VLAN network for either different subnets or belong to the same subnet. So for today's guys, this is what I had, this is what I have. So thank for your time guys. I'm still begging you to remember to subscribe to my channel, like, share and comment guys, I will appreciate a lot. So see you in the next video. Once again, thank you for watching my videos. Goodbye.